So check it out. Come on, Grace. Hmm? Oh, okay. I'll do it. Here's the thing. We like to feel the love when you're closer to us. So, just move on. Come on, just move on up. Come in closer. Let's leave the back pew for those who come in later, but come on closer because we're actually going to be doing show and tell. So you need to be able to see the things that we're going to put out here. So come closer. Come closer. We are guests in your house, right? So come and keep us nice and warm and let us feel the love that you have for us. If you're physically able to do so, thank you so much for doing that. Oh, all right. You know, he was the first one up on his feet. You like the actions today. All right. Ready? Are y'all ready? Yes, here we go. We're going to get you moving in a moment. Don't worry. We'll wake you up. Here we go, Gracie.
All right, so Be Smart, it's nothing new. It's the same health principles you've been hearing for a long time, the same things that God gave us back in Genesis to do. It's just a new package. That's what it is. And what we've done is we've taken the health principles, and instead of just giving you the information, we've decided to give you a mission to accomplish, right? So we have a Be Smart chart, and maybe I'll go back there and see if they can pull it up there later on. But it's on our website. It's BeSMART365.com. So you have to think about being smart every day of the year, because we've been through a lot of programs on television, and people have participated in a lot of programs like P90X, for instance, right? How many days is P90X? It's 90 days. And then you have 6-week programs, and then you have 30-day programs. Well, we're called to be Christians how many days of the year? Every single day, right? So this is a program that is not for 90 days or 6 weeks. It's for the rest of your life, right? So your missions, should you choose to accept, is what we're going to go over. I'll just explain the mission, and the doctor, he's going to give you science, and Princess Ann and I will just be keep tag teaming all along the while. We should take 5 o'clock, we should be done. And then we'll take questions. If you have any questions while we're doing the presentation, we'll take them at the time, right? So the B and Be Smart is for believe in God. And if you're sitting here right now, there's a good chance you do believe in God. And studies have shown that believing in God can add, up to like 7 years to your lifespan? So having a dog is one thing, but believing in God and having a dog, you can really add years onto your lifespan, right? So having that faith and fellowshipping and being around other people is actually what makes that happen. And there's 3 simple missions that we want you guys to accomplish every day. The first one is praying as soon as you wake up in the morning. Did everyone say a prayer as soon as they open their eyes? It's the first thing you did. And then your own personal morning devotion, right? Did you have your own personal morning devotion? Even on, Sabbaths, we think we're going to come to church and they'll handle it there. Every single morning you wake up and have your quiet time with God. And the third mission is one that we always tell children, but we sometimes neglect as adults, is praying before bedtime, right? So those are the 3 things for the B. And B also is for something called deep breathing. And we're advocating something called the 479. It's something if you do it 5 minutes a day, the doctor will tell you the science about it momentarily, but we just want to try this. For 5 minutes a day, you want to practice deep breathing. And it's called the 479 because you inhale for 4 seconds, hold it for 7, exhale for 9, okay? And when you inhale, make sure you inhale in a way where your stomach expands. So you don't want to breathe in and make your chest puff up, okay? Put my hand on my stomach and I exhale and I inhale. My stomach should expand, okay? So we're gonna try 3 cycles. So you're gonna breathe in for 4 seconds. Ready? Breathe in, go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Exhale slowly. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And then you inhale again. 2, 3, 4. Hold it for 7, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Exhale for 9, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. One more time. Inhale for 4, 2, 3, 4. Hold it. Exhale slowly. And a hush falls over the crowd. What's the science behind that, and why did it get so quiet and peaceful in here?
All right, so we always tell you should breathe like a baby. Have you ever noticed how babies breathe? Babies know how to breathe. As we get older, we forget how to breathe. When you look at a baby's stomach goes up as they inhale. And what they're doing, they're exercising the diaphragm, which is one of the most powerful muscles in the body, and air rushes in as that diaphragm goes down and what we call intrathoracic pressure goes down, then air rushes in, and your lungs are filled with oxygen. And if your lungs are filled with oxygen, then your blood is going to be filled with oxygen, then your brain is going to be filled with oxygen. So it's very peaceful to have a lot of oxygen go into your brain. There's another thing that slow, deep breathing does. It stimulates a nerve called your vagus nerve. The vagus nerve is actually a long nerve that goes all the way through your chest cavity to your diaphragm. And it also has an interesting property. It tends to slow down your heart rate. So if you ever get angry with your boss, right? Or if you get angry with your children or angry with your parents or just plain angry, do some deep breathing. And what will happen is naturally your brain will be filled with oxygen, so you'll be able to think better. Your heart rate will slow down, and you won't be as angry, and you'll be able to respond in a more appropriate fashion. So that's the science behind deep breathing. The science behind brushing your teeth and bathing is obvious. When you look at the Old Testament, Moses actually had a lot of health laws that he talked about, like if you touched a dead body. Oh yeah, that's for the, we didn't mention that? That's for the public school system. But we also should brush our teeth and bathe, and there are obvious reasons because it prevents the spread of disease. Now, how many people woke up this morning and knew exactly what was going to happen for the rest of the day in their lives? How many people knew that when they woke up this morning? Raise your hands. I've never had anybody raise their hands because you don't know, right? But is there someone that knows? And who would that person be? Okay, so if you have someone that knows everything that's going to happen in your life, he may not let you know at the start of the day, but he knows. Wouldn't it make sense to consult them before you went out the door, right? Because to get yourself aligned with him, to ask him for favors and to tell him, ask him for strength. So that's why we believe that you should start your day with God. It's just a very simple thing. Believe in God. The wisest man on the planet back then, who was also one of the most foolish men, Solomon, said, "Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not to your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he will direct your paths." So if you start every day with God, your day will go by smoothly. Smooth things may not happen, but your response to those things will be smooth. There's these hormones called adrenaline and cortisol, and they're stress hormones. And, stress is something that affects all of us, okay? It's actually a natural response. If an animal is chasing you, you want those hormones coursing through your blood so you can run away, so you can run fast, okay, or so you could fight. But a lot of us are operating on a daily basis like an angry dog is chasing us. And when we spend that time realigning ourselves with God, spending some time with them, we tend to relax and we tend to not be stressed out at all the stressors that enter into our lives. Any questions? Okay.
Yeah, so the brushing your teeth and bathing that he mentioned is actually how we were able to get the program into public schools, because the B, well, that's a smart chart right there, actually. The B is for believing God. That was the original game plan. But in order to market this to public schools, obviously, you can't just run in there with that. So these are, like I said, all principles we got from the Bible, and hygiene is definitely way up there because he works in the emergency room and he sees lots of people in their 20s with a full set of dentures. So when he said this brushing your teeth thing is not just for kids, it's for everyone if you want to keep the teeth that God gave you. So if you look at the chart right there, your mission actually would be to fill in the entire chart, like every single space. And what you'll find is that some days will be better than others. But every day, we start over again, and we just go for the goal. We don't tell somebody, just work on the B, right? Because God cares about our entire being. So we say, be smart every single day and just make improvements the next day. So the E is for eating fruits and vegetables, and your goal every day is to eat 7 servings of fruits and vegetables, right? So think about your day today so far. Who's made it up to at least 4 or 5 servings? A serving, when I talk to, my kindergartners and they had 4 blueberries, they think, I ate 4 servings, right? Well, you have to have a whole maybe handful or something, okay? So who's eaten at least 4 to 5 servings today already? Anyone? Some people? Fruits and vegetables. Fruits and vegetables. All right. So if you think about it, the statistic for children who end up being adults anyways, on any given day, 50% of children eat no fruit at all, right? And that's incredible. But then, like I said, children grow up to be big adults, right? And as far as vegetables, I think it's maybe 20% eat maybe just one serving or more. So it's definitely something we have to work on. And the other part of E is eating fruits and vegetables and drinking water. There you have, 8 boxes of 8 ounces. That's 64 ounces. You guys have heard 8 glasses a day, right? That's a bare minimum for most humans. 8 glasses a day is going to work for Barbie, somebody her size, right? If you're bigger than her, which most of us in this room are, you're going to need to drink more than that because the equation is actually half your body weight in ounces, right? And that's going to be your equation. I weigh 145 pounds, so I need at least 70 ounces, and that's actually being conservative, which ends up being usually 4 to 5 bottles of water a day, because if you exercise, you need more than that too. So we want to drink water and no soda, and we'll explain that more in detail, but a lot of you guys know some reasons why, and choosing the fruit instead of the juice, and that's simple. So instead of apple juice, what can you do? Eat the apple, right? We're encouraging you to eat the fruit, the whole fruit, nothing but the fruit, so help you God. All right, what's the science behind that?
The Department of Health and Human Services estimates that there are certain habits that lead to premature death and disability. What do you think is the number one habit that leads to premature death and disability? Habit, something that we do on a daily basis that would lead to a heart attack, that would lead to a stroke. Smoking, yes. Anything else? Junk food? Okay, yeah. There was a study that was done in 2004. These researchers looked at the underlying habits that cause disease. At that time, tobacco was number one. It was estimated that tobacco use caused about, I think it was 450,000 deaths per year. That's in the year 2000. The study was done in 2004, and they were looking at data from 2000. The number 2 cause was poor nutrition and lack of exercise at 400,000 deaths per year. The Department of Health and Human Services has actually upped that number. It may be number 1 now, that poor nutrition and lack of exercise is actually the number 1 cause of death and disability, underlying habit. So that's why we're talking about this, because there's some very simple things you can do so you don't have to see me in the emergency room. I'd like to see you guys, but not necessarily in the emergency room, maybe in church, okay? So when we're talking about eating fruits and vegetables, you go to like all the websites, the American Cancer Society, they will say nutrition plays a very important part. Some researchers state 70% of cancers. What percentage? 70% of cancers could probably be prevented if we ate more fruit and vegetables. Now, why is that? Why is that? Why do you think that is? I'm asking a question. We can talk. You get a lot of nutrition from the fruit, you get a lot of nutrition from the vegetables. Specifically, there are these things called phytochemicals or phytonutrients. There are thousands, maybe hundreds of thousands of them. We're discovering them every day that are anti-cancer, that boost your immune system, that promote heart health. There's something called quercetin. You know that white peel that's between the orange and the skin? Well, that's high in a phytochemical called quercetin that boosts your immune system. So don't throw that away. Eat it along with the orange. And that's why we encourage you to eat, what do you say, Grace? The fruit, the whole fruit, and nothing but the fruit, because you get all the phytonutrients in that fruit that are anti-cancer, that boost your immune system. The other thing that plants have, now, interestingly enough, animal products don't have any phytonutrients whatsoever. It's just a fact. I'm just giving you information. Plants also have fiber. Now, fiber is an interesting thing. It's what adds bulk to food. So guess what happens when you eat foods that are high in fiber? You tend to feel full. Yeah, you tend to feel full. The other thing that fiber does is it tends to help you eliminate easier. You know what I mean by eliminate? Grace will talk to you about eliminate. That's one of her favorite topics. It will help you eliminate, and it's we laugh at it, but it's a very serious concern, because I'm seeing a lot of people in the emergency room who have elimination problems, and I think initially they may have a serious condition like some sort of colitis or appendicitis or something, and really, when you do the CAT scans, you see some very interesting CAT scans that just show a lot of matter that needs to be eliminated. So if you eat your 7 servings of fruit and vegetables, guess what? You'll eliminate easier. And the other thing, fruit and vegetables are very high in water. You know, you're talking about anywhere from 80 to 90% water, and that's what your body craves. You are actually, depending on your age and your size, you're probably anywhere from 60 to close to 80% water. Children tend to have more water content. The older you get, you tend to hydrate. So we really want you to drink that water because it's going to make things easy on your kidneys, going to make it easy on your brain. A lot of times people come in for dizziness in the summertime in Ocala. And you talk to them, they weren't drinking any water. I give them like a bag of IV fluids, and they're going to get a huge bill, and they feel better when if all they had to do was drink more water throughout the day. We're encouraging you to drink half your body weight in ounces, eat your 7 servings of fruit and vegetables. This is the American government actually recommends this. You know why? They are interested in your health, but you know what? They're paying the bill for your health. They don't want health costs to go up. So eat those fruit and vegetables, drink that water because it's really good for you. And finally, you know, God put man in a garden, and the first diet mentioned is actually a diet of fruit and vegetables. Let's get back to that, eating more of those foods, okay? Any questions? Yes.
What are your thoughts? I mean, are we breaking some? I know we're breaking down something there, but that's your best bet. We make popsicles for them, and they love popsicles. They had no clue what's in it.
I would say if you're doing a fruit smoothie with no added sugar, that is good. Okay. I mean, it's the good thing about the smoothie is it has all the fiber. Now, if you eat the whole fruit and nothing but the fruit, your body gets to break it down and gets to do more work. And it's probably more work, so you probably end up taking in less calories than if you did a smoothie. But a smoothie is, I mean, we use smoothies. Question. So yes. Okay, well,
Yes,
everybody
hold
wants to
on.
know what?
Yeah. Can you use the mic?
How often you should eat the 8 servings of fruit?
Yeah, on a daily basis, you want to get 7 servings minimum of fruit and vegetables on a daily basis. You know, I tell people, hey, half your breakfast should be fruit, half your lunch or dinner should be a salad. I mean, just pile on that salad. You know, the unfortunate thing, I go to a lot of church potlucks, and the one thing that's always left is the poor salad. And that's like my favorite thing. I mean, and if you add the dressing, there's a problem with that because it's a lot of added oils and fats that are high in calories. So, you know, try to enjoy the texture of the vegetable. Try to just eat the vegetable. Try to get the natural flavor of the spinach, of the broccoli. You can try Grace's decadent dip that she has. Yeah, it's on our website. Now, that's a healthy dip because it has cashews and it's high fiber, nutritional yeast, so that's good for you. All right, I'm done talking because I'm talking too much.
All right, so
1 second. Can I just say something real quick? If anybody have a question, just put your hands up. We'll get a mic to you because the people are watching online, and they'll love to hear your questions also towards Grace, okay? Thank you.
all right, so we're talking about eating fruits and vegetables, and here's what's happening in America. We've been finding a lot of substitutes and replacements for fruits and vegetables, things that try to simulate, especially fruits. And there's one thing that we're eating way too much of that's causing a whole lot of problems. Anyone know what that thing is? Everywhere we go, everybody knows because this is the amount of sugar, this 5-pound mag, that the average American consumes in 7 to 9 days. 7 to 9 days, okay? It's actually incredible. What we're gonna do is show you where this sugar is because it's in places you wouldn't suspect and It's everywhere in the supermarket. So before we go quickly, I'm going to give you 4 things sugar does, and the doctor can expound on it later. But too much sugar can cause diabetes type 2, right? Too much sugar can cause heart disease, the #1 killer in America, kills over 4,000 people every single day, right? And remember 9/11? That was 3,000 plus, 4,000 plus every day. Too much sugar contributes to heart disease, diabetes, can make you gain weight. That's a big thing that it does. And it can feed cancer cells, contribute to different cancers. All right, so where's all the sugar is the question. Oh, it also suppresses, okay, 4 is a conservative number of things, suppresses your immune system, right? Knocks out your white blood cells' ability to fight diseases, and definitely can wreak havoc on your teeth, okay? Serious thing for cavities. All right, so let's see where the sugar is. And as I'm gonna hold things up, every one of these little packs there represents about a teaspoon of sugar. So we're gonna start out small, but in a little bag like this, or a little box like this, okay, Apple Jacks. Instead of Apple Jacks, what can you eat? Apples. All we're gonna do today is just kind of reprogram ourselves to start looking for the thing that God made, right? The thing you're trying to simulate. Instead of Fruit Loops, what can you eat? Eat fruit, right? Once it becomes a Fruit Loop, it's no longer really a fruit anymore, right? Frosted Flakes are frosted with sugar. Okay, you're gonna see things in a new way in the supermarket now, and then you're gonna start ending up on the perimeter versus the whole middle section that's full of lots of sugary things. There's a holiday coming up, Valentine's Day, right? And I say on Valentine's, show your love. Instead of candy, give somebody a hug or a card, right? But the things we have here, shape of a heart, is this really good for your heart? Remember, too much sugar contributes to heart disease. Here we have some fruit-flavored snacks. By the time the kid eats the whole bag or the whole box, which can happen quickly, right? That's how much sugar they've consumed. So instead of fruit-flavored snacks, what can you eat? This thing is really simple when we start thinking about getting back to the Garden of Eden, right? All right, so we have this one here. This is Starburst that are all kind of flavors. Orange, strawberry, cherry, lime, lemon. Eat the orange, strawberry, cherry, lime, lemon. Just eat the fruit, right? That's the simple thing. Any kind of cookie. Now, some people always say, oh, I don't eat Oreos though, but I do eat Chips Ahoy. So just because we're not showing your kind of cookie, right? It's all the same. We have yet to meet a healthy cookie in the store. We used to eat vegan cookies, thinking that was a wonderful thing. But you know what? The reason those cookies tasted so good is because they're loaded with sugar, right? So here's Chips Ahoy, which is full of sugar, right? And like I said, the doctor will explain more what sugar does. All right, so anything that has marshmallows is gonna have to be a red flag in your book because marshmallows are just pure sugar and a whole lot of other things. So if you want something hot, then maybe some kind of herbal tea would be a great idea, right? And then any kind of candies are gonna be full of, any kind of these sour candies or Starburst or anything it is, Reese's peanut butter cups. I used to love these things, right? Because here's the thing. The thing is, we're gonna have to retrain our taste buds, right? Because we're accustomed to eating these kind of things. Now, peanut M&Ms, once a peanut becomes an M&M, it loses its identity, right? It's an identity crisis. So it's okay to eat peanuts, but let's keep away from the M&M part of them, right? Snickers really satisfies you, they say. What Snickers does, just like any of these sugary things, is send your blood sugar spiking up and crashing down. And when it crashes down to a level that triggers your appetite. And when you end up eating more instead of less. So Snickers doesn't really satisfy you. What it does is make you hungrier and hungrier. And like I said, it's gonna come a matter of training, right? We're gonna have to retrain our taste buds. And it will be a process. It doesn't take long though. These are, you guys know what this is. Some kind of brownies. Any kind of these things that come in these kind of boxes. These go in the microwave or something like that. Let's taste the rainbow of fruits and vegetables instead of the rainbow of Skittles. Is that a good idea? Because these, right, I used to eat these all the time too, and that's why I like to eat fruit so much now, because if I want something sweet, if I want a sweet treat, I eat fresh fruit now. Any kind of marshmallowy, Rice Krispies treat thing, I know kids like to eat these a lot, but adults are not some big kids, so adults like to eat those a lot too. And, you know, this is our little Adventist secret about Little Debbie, right? Don't tell your friends that's an Adventist-owned company. Yeah, so anyway, any kind of honey bun or oatmeal cream pie or things like that, let's eat oatmeal instead of the oatmeal cream pie. Do you see how we have to change the way we're thinking? Okay, so peanut butter, I love peanut butter, and peanut butter actually is good if it only has 2 ingredients. What 2 ingredients should peanut butter have? Peanuts and salt, just for low flavor, peanuts and salt. Most of these peanut butters in the store, even if they say natural, are full of sugar in addition to other things. There's about 5 lines of ingredients on here, and, well, peanuts are in there. But there's sugar, there's hydrogenated oils, it says no high fructose corn syrup, but has a whole lot of other things. And high fructose corn syrup is one ingredient that's in a lot of these things. And there's a hormone in your body, this is a honey bun, called leptin. And leptin makes you feel full, right? So what high fructose corn syrup does, it kind of disables that hormone from working properly. So you end up eating a whole lot and not feeling full. So it's not that people are greedy and they keep on eating, it's that we're eating chemicals that are causing an imbalance and really messing with our heads. So we end up continually eating these things because we don't feel full. Because fiber is actually what fills you up. Now this is just the cake, and I picked the plain white one. Now I didn't have time to put the frosting one together too, but it'd be just as long. So by the time you eat the cake and the frosting, it's gonna be a chain that's twice as long. And these things are easy, especially if you make them into cupcakes. This can be gone by the next day, right? Or this can be gone immediately for some people. Yeah, these are things that, like I said, used to eat these things, but now that I know better, I'm gonna do better. That's it. And you're getting information today that by the time you leave, you're gonna be faced with a choice. You are gonna know what's in these things now. Here's one of my favorites, because I used to love to eat peanut butter and jelly. Now I eat peanut butter and honey, right? Raw honey. Yeah, and if I just want to take a moment to read the ingredients of Concord grape jelly, there aren't any grapes in here. Concord grape juice, high fructose corn syrup, fruit pectin, citric acid, and sodium citrate. So here it is, grape jelly, and we're missing the grapes, right? Even though I see a pretty picture of grapes on the front, there are no grapes on the inside of this actually. So peanut butter with the 2 ingredients and honey is actually a very good alternative, and that's my favorite thing. Now, we have some strawberry Pop-Tarts. Instead of strawberry Pop-Tarts, what can you eat? Eat the strawberries. It really is simple. These foods are what they call convenience foods, and we've heard people say, oh, well, you know, eating healthy is expensive. This is a very expensive display up here. And what we normally do is we ask people after this presentation, hey, bring stuff in from your house that you know you're not gonna eat anymore, and we can add it to the display. Because eating this way is way more expensive than eating healthy fruits, vegetables, beans, whole grains, nuts, and seeds. And the number one factor and reason why is because you're gonna eat more of this stuff because it's not gonna fill you up. These marshmallows have been around for a while now. I'll tell you what, marshmallows do smell good, all right? This stuff, when Satan was in the Garden of Eden, what was his first attack on man? He did it through what? He did it through appetite, right? Nothing is changing now. This stuff smells good, it may look good, it even may taste good to you, but we have to know that the stuff we're supposed to be eating, like this marshmallows right here, is the stuff that God made and gave us way back in the beginning of time, right? And here's the way I see it. We're gonna be eating back like we were in the Garden of Eden in the end anyway, so we may as well start training for it now, right? And this packet of marshmallows, there's about 300 grams of sugar in here, okay? And people make s'mores and things like that. This can really wreak havoc on your immune system, on your heart, everything. And this one is an Adventist favorite right here. This Martinelli's. Even when we show this to kids and we hold this up, they say, no! But anyway, if you want something that tastes like apples, what should you do? Eat apples, right? So we're encouraging you to eat the fruit, and if you're thirsty, what should you do? Just drink water. Water's the choice of champions. And a lot of times, when we think we're hungry, we're actually just thirsty. And that's that thirst mechanism. And our body's just craving water, but instead we reach for things like this. Okay, so soda is something that actually, the doctor will tell you is unfit for human consumption, actually. There are a few things on the planet that are more dangerous than this. Soda's high in something called phosphoric acid, which leaches, it takes calcium away from your bones. And he made up a rhyme the other day that soda destroys your teeth, destroys your bones, and gives you painful kidney stones. all right? And these are things we definitely don't want and are avoidable. But so it's very high in sugar, it's high in phosphoric acid, and even when you see a soda that's a diet soda, it's still very dangerous again. So what we would say is soda it actually is a very poisonous toxin to put into your system. And like I said, when you see a diet soda, just because you don't see any sugar packets attached to it, this contains something called aspartame or aspartame, some people say, which is an unnatural sweetener that has over 90-something side effects. Dizziness, nausea. I mean, he's seeing things in the ER that they've never seen before. He's been practicing medicine for over 20 years. The reason he's seeing things that he's never seen is because we're consuming things that in the past we never used to consume. These things weren't really options when we were growing up. So any kind of soda is going to be full of sugar and full of this phosphoric acid, and even if not, it's some all-natural sweetener. So for kids especially, I mean, water, like I said, if we can start promoting water as a choice of champions, part of BeSMART is the TV time, 1 hour or less. There's a big reason for this. And we say quality programming because when kids watching television, or you guys watching television, when's the last time you've seen a commercial promoting broccoli? Has anyone seen that? I don't think you have. Or when have you seen a commercial saying that you should be drinking water, right? When you watch television, you're getting a whole lot of advertising that's talking about eating and drinking all of these things. So we become programmed as humans. So the best bet, like I said, is 1 hour or less of quality television. And quality means shows like about nature, shows you can learn from. Okay, orange juice. Same goes, like I said, for apple juice or grape juice. Whenever you consume the juice outside of the fruit, it's a form of concentrated sugar, right? So your body's gonna process the sugar in this orange juice just like it is the sugar in this soda, okay? It's gonna be the same thing. You have to have it with that fiber. It's kind of like taking a verse out of the Bible and just using it out of context, right? Not a good idea. But when you eat that whole fruit, that's when you get those phytonutrients and phytochemicals the doctor was talking about. So any kind of juice that comes in a store, you also have to realize that it's not alive anymore. This is long gone and dead, and whatever they're advertising on the front of the box, you're not gonna be getting that. You're gonna get a whole lot of this. Now, if you're gonna juice your own fruits, we only recommend that if you are trying to get well. Maybe if you're sick or suffering from something, to get a quick nutrient boost. But if you're able to pick up an apple and eat that apple, eat the apple, right? And get all of the fiber and everything else inside. And if you're gonna do a smoothie, that's a great idea because you're still getting the fiber and everything else in there. So here goes some V8. So why not just eat the vegetables instead of this juice? Because this says it counts as 2 servings, but that's not really true because you're not really getting the nutrients, the phytonutrients and phytochemicals that eating the actual vegetables are gonna give you. And even this small bottle of grape juice. And the other thing is, this is easy. I used to be able to drink these things, 3 or 4 of them just in a row even, you know? Have you ever seen, let's say this was apple juice, have you ever seen anybody eat like 4 apples in a row before? I haven't seen a person just sit down and do that because they get full. It's very difficult. But something like this, let's say it was apple juice, grape juice, you can just keep drinking these and keep drinking these. There's no stop sign, right? So God gave us that whole fruit to make sure that stop sign was activated. So instead of grape juice, you can eat grapes. And then fruit punch, here we go again. It's the same all across the board, all right? And when we talk about fruits and vegetables, inevitably, at some point, someone will ask a question, oh no, what about pesticides, okay? Well, listen, we don't want anything to deter you from eating fruits and vegetables. Just know that maybe they do spray some pesticides on this stuff. Wash it off, right? Wash it off and then say a prayer, right? Dear Jesus, please bless the food I'm about to receive. May it sure be healthy, right? If you're doing your best, he will honor that, okay? And when people talk about pesticides, the easy response is, listen, the most 3 dangerous things on earth are sugar, fat, and salt, okay? Sugar, fat, and salt. There's no pesticide on earth that can stand up to sugar, fat, and salt. So pesticides are actually the least of our worries, and the doctor can give you more science about that too afterwards. So yeah, just wash them and eat lots of them. And organic, do it when you can if you're gonna be eating the skin. All right, so Gatorade, I had some Gatorade in that video, but that wasn't really Gatorade. What they used to do is put a big old cooler of water and then put some orange powder in there to make us think we're drinking Gatorade. We were drinking water, all right? Gatorade is actually, if I read the ingredients here, okay, water, that's good. Sucrose, anytime you hear something ends in OSE, that's a form of sugar. So you have sucrose, dextrose, citric acid, natural flavor, salt, sodium citrate, monopotassium phosphate, modified food starch, red 40, glycerol ester of rosin, caramel color. Sounds like I'm speaking a foreign language, all right? So our thing is, if you can't read it, don't eat it. If you can't read it, don't drink it. Drink water. These people are making a whole lot of money, and we want to be good stewards of God's money. Is that right? So if we could replace all these things with just water and the good foods that are good for our bodies, number one, the number one cause of bankruptcy in America is medical bills, okay? So you can pay now or you can pay later, right? So make smart choices. And this one right here, Red Bull, I used to drink this at halftime because I thought Red Bull gives me wings, right? I didn't know any better until my teammates started staring at me like I was, having 3 eyes or 3 heads. And I said, so what's the big deal? They said if they were to test my urine after the game and this was found in my system, I would be expelled from the league. So in foreign countries, this is an illegal, banned substance for sports. But yet when I hold this up in my kindergarten class, I have 5-year-olds saying, yay, mommy gives me that sometimes. And this one too, 5-hour energy. Oh yeah, I drink that too. My little brother who's like 4 or 3. This can stop little kids' hearts. This is so dangerous. There's even a warning on here that says, do not take if you're pregnant or nursing or under 12 years of age. Listen, everybody needs to start living like a pregnant lady because somehow whenever people have another body or another human inside of them, they start taking really great precautions. So live like a pregnant lady, right? And then here goes apple juice, all right? And this is the same amount of sugar you're gonna find in a 2-liter bottle of soda. It's amazing. So if we were to eat the fruit, we would save money and our health would just be completely restored. And you know what? Here's a neat story. Dr. Rovell, his nephew used to love to drink juice, right? When I say love, could he drink this in one day? Oh, so he would just have this like as a cup at the table, okay? So the guy loved to drink juice. And I met him, and his stomach was out there. He was pretty big. And guess what happened? He came over to visit them, and then we talked about juice, showed him this stuff. He said he's gonna stop drinking juice. The guy actually stopped drinking juice and started drinking water. He lost 30 pounds in a month. That's the only thing he did, was cut out the juice. He kept doing everything else he was doing. This one change was so powerful. 30 pounds in 30 days. And I wouldn't have believed it unless I seen it myself. And I did see him a little over a month afterwards, a whole new person. The guy was standing up straight, boom. I mean, the belt, people say, my belt's getting tight, right? The belt was loosened up. It was incredible just by drinking water. And I've had people that I know that stopped drinking soda. And you stop drinking soda, it works so quickly. In 7 to 10 days, boom, there goes 10 pounds, right? And then you have to start drinking the right amount of water too, because right now, your body is holding on to a certain amount of water because it doesn't trust that you're gonna continue to replenish it. So if you drink the right amount of water, your body will eventually release that and you will automatically start to lose weight. And that's with just making that simple change. Now, here's something that's amazing. Okay, anybody recognize this? It's a McDonald's cheeseburger, right? This thing is incredible. It's over 5 years old. It's older than some children in here, all right? It's over 5 years old, and it's been living in the garage that entire time. Hard as a rock. No mold, no self-respecting bacteria. Nothing is going after this stuff, okay? Doesn't even smell bad. It smells like Play-Doh, actually. Yeah, it smells like Play-Doh. There's a reason for that. This stuff is so loaded up with preservatives and things like that it's no longer even food. It's becomes virtually indigestible by our bodies, right? These fries are still putting out salt and grease. What happens is this food doesn't go anywhere. It doesn't have the fiber that's gonna push it through the system, right? So that's why we have, here's the neat things about our bodies. God made us so amazingly that if we've been eating stuff like this, all we have to do is start eating fruits and vegetables and drinking water and eat some beans, whole grains. That works as a sweep. It's gonna sweep that stuff right out of our bodies like a cleanup crew goes through there. This is a chicken McNugget, all right? This stuff is hard as a rock. You can come up and see it afterwards. Don't squeeze it too hard. It doesn't have feelings, but it will break, right? Only reason this stuff is battered and it's falling apart is because it goes in the back of the pickup truck, and one day the top of the thing got loose, and guess what? flying around like a hockey puck in there and still virtually indestructible. It's incredible. This was a sausage egg McMuffin. Somewhere in there, there's the egg and the cheese and the stuff. It's you know what? I had an ant problem in my office at my job, and I put that cheeseburger on the desk, no ants. So like instead of putting combat in corners, we can start putting old cheeseburger in corners, and it does the same thing apparently. This is what I call the indestructible uncrustable. This is one of those peanut butter and jelly things they give the kids. If you send your kids to public school, please pack their lunches. I am begging you, because my students, they do their little BeSMART chart every day, in the afternoon, and I say, who chose, a fruit at lunch this morning? Oh, Miss Daly, we didn't have any fruits. They just had donuts and Fruit Loops. And then they had these juice bags, that's it. So it's true. So in this one right here, this is a school lunch donut. You guys know the story of David and Goliath? There'd be no need for 5 stones. You just need one school lunch donut that's been sitting around for 2 years. This will take out the biggest giant. This thing is incredible. It's hard as a rock. All right, so we have all that in there. And this one's my all-time favorite. You guys recognize this box? Yes. Now, this is also over 2 years old. When I open this, you guys all should pass out because the smell should knock you out, and there should be worms and maggots and things like that. No such thing. Still smells like it's hot now. Look at that. Once again, hard as a rock. And here's the thing, and I love to use this donut box as an example, because a lot of times we think to ourselves that we can out-train poor nutritional choices, okay? You guys know donuts aren't good for you, right? You know the best thing about a donut? The hole, right there, looking right through it. The best thing about the donut's the hole, okay? And we think, okay, well, and we'll talk about moderation. I'll talk about moderation right now, actually. When we talk about moderation, we talk about self-control, right? Self-control in good things. That's the Christian definition of moderation. Now, when it comes to the Christian definition of moderation, Adventists are at the forefront when it comes to pork, right? Pork, no good. I don't even want anything that's been cooked 18 pots next to the pork, right? Can't touch it, won't have it, don't even want to smell it, because we know it's not good for us, so we abstain from it completely, right? Am I correct? But because it's not good for you. It's not good for your body. But then next thing you know, you get a donut, and donuts, we know they're not good for us either, but just one, right? Just 2, no problem. Here's what we advocate: self-control in good things, and when things are bad, avoid them completely. And here's why. This stuff is actually very addictive, okay? Very addictive. And the doctor can explain the science behind that too. But let's say I did just say, one donut here, one donut there. Next thing you know, the whole box is gone, right? In order to run off or work off those donuts, I would have to run what the doctor did 3 or 4 weeks ago. He was in the Disney Marathon on Sunday, and the marathon is how many miles? 26.2 miles. You would have to run 26.2 miles to work off that box of donuts. And you know what? Ain't nobody got time for that, right? That'd be a full-time job, and that's not being a good steward of our time. So when it comes to self-control, let's practice self-control in good things and avoid bad things completely.
All right. So we've shown you just a very small sampling of what's available on the grocery shelf and what you have in your pantry, in your refrigerator. Yeah? So if you were to now start to read your labels when you go grocery shopping, and if, you'll notice that there's a lot of sugar in everything you buy: ketchup, mayonnaise, honey. They're even adding sugar to honey. Like, really, why? To breads, anything you can purchase, any processed food will have sugar. So if you were to think what you had yesterday, the day before, all of last week, all of last month, no, all of last week, it adds up to this 5 pound. And for those who just came in, we already told them this is how much you eat, the average American, in sugar: 5 pounds every week to a week and a half. So what are we asking you to do? Drink what? What are we asking you to do? Eat what? Fruits and vegetables. If you're already eating fruits and vegetables, make sure you're getting at least 7 servings. Increase that. We want you to go for a wide variety, a rainbow of color of them. So if you only like apples and that's all you're eating, you're limiting yourself to the nutrients that are only found in apples. You're missing out on nutrients that are found in, come on, oranges, Y'all know your fruits? Come on, let's go. Okay. On vegetables, you're missing, if you only like carrots, then you're missing out on the nutrients that are found in. Here we go. Artichoke. This is a pop quiz. What's this? And if you don't recognize them, it's now an opportunity for you to go to the grocery store and become really acquainted with them. All right, what's this? Star fruit. If you don't know it, never tried it, what should you do? Yes. Oh,
It's yummy.
Ooh, and a kid shall lead him. All right, so go, Zachary. Show them what you've got. Let's see if they can guess this fruit. We're going to play the game. Guess this fruit or vegetable. Go. Good job. Ooh. Ah. Oh, it's a lemon. It's a really big lemon. Probably from Aunt Rose's tree because she has like lots of garden. Very good for you. What? This is medicine. Excellent. You should try that. Oh, hold the horses. Let's talk about fat really quickly. Fat, cholesterol, they talk about that. Can we get some fat in our diet, but the good kind? Yeah? This won't affect you in a negative way. It will affect you in a very positive way. Also, the fat that's found in walnuts and just nuts in general, but they can't be roasted, they can't be salted, they can't be sugared up. They got to be raw. All right, go. All right, here we go. What's this one? Pomegranate. What else we've got? Okay, you get the idea. Good job. Let's thank our wonderful, my niece and nephew, Zoe and Zachary. Go have a seat. All right, Dr. Don is going to briefly tell you how sugar can be addictive. But before he comes, at the end, we're going to issue a challenge, and we're going to show you a brief clip of a couple of ladies from our exercise class, just one, who lost a tremendous amount of weight from August 13th when she started our free exercise and nutrition class in Ocala until, I want to say October. Yeah, she lost 43 pounds. The before and after is amazing, and she'll tell you her own story. But let's talk about Dr. Don here for a moment. We've been vegans for a number of years, but like Grace mentioned, we would eat a lot of vegan stuff, and to make some of the processed vegan food taste yummy that you buy from Whole Foods and stuff, they had to put a lot of this in there. So although he was exercising and training for marathons, and we would teach these exercise classes, the six-pack was hidden behind a one-pack. Seriously. So he decided to make a change. Now remember, he was eating healthily, but I want you to be aware of what sugar will do to your body. He started eating more of this. Woo! And cut out all that. And drink only water. Can I just say I can scrub my clothes on the washboard? Y'all with me? And he actually performed a whole lot better in the marathon. So we're going to issue the challenge, but just keep this in mind. Can anyone relate? Even if you don't see your drug of, your food, something stuck in my throat, drug of choice, there I go again, your food of choice, and I'm using that term very loosely. Just know that it probably has ingredients in it that you ought not be having, and you now should check out the ingredient label and go to the recycling bin with it. Don't give it away. If it's not good for you, it's not good for anyone else.
All right, yeah. So our brains all need a certain type of sugar. You know, your brain, the preferred nutrient of your brain is sugar, fructose, glucose. If you get hypoglycemic, what happens? Your sugar drops, and then what happens? You pass out. You become unresponsive. And if you're unresponsive for a long period of time, guess what? It's hard for you to wake up. So your brain needs a consistent supply of sugar. But the problem is when you're eating it in concentrated form like this, rather than in the form that it was created with, let's not use a lemon. Some people like lemon. Let's use an apple. That has, again, phytonutrients and fiber. What happens when you drink the apple juice? Your blood sugar spikes, it goes high immediately and then it crashes. So actually, you tend to become more hypoglycemic. You want to eat something like this with fiber so that the sugar is gradually released into your bloodstream, along with the phytonutrients that your body needs, along with the fiber that your body needs. When you eat refined sugar like that, it has a very drug-like effect. I don't know if any of you guys saw the special with Sanjay Gupta about sugar. He went to all these different researchers. He went to a researcher who studies the brain, and they gave people like a sugary drink, and actually I think they gave Sanjay Gupta that, and the same areas of the brain that light up with methamphetamines and certain drug-like substances, sugar lit up those same areas of the brain. Grace also mentioned that sugar stimulates, can cause cancer. How is that possible? Sugar actually increases insulin. Insulin is required for you to absorb sugar into your muscles, and it stimulates what are called insulin receptors. A lot of cancers have insulin receptors. So when you eat a lot of sugar, a lot of cancers are stimulated and cancer can grow. So sugar promotes cancer. Sugar promotes heart disease. How does it do that? Does it multiple ways. One way is it increases the bad cholesterol, which is called the LDL cholesterol, which is the kind that can cause blockages. But we all know that heart disease is a combination of inflammation and blockage. Sugar is a very pro-inflammatory product. If you have arthritis, rheumatoid arthritis, any sort of arthritis, you really should stay away from this. When I see people who are diabetic in the emergency room, I tend to admit them for anything. If they come in with chest pain, because diabetics tend to have more heart attacks. Diabetics tend to have more infections. The number one cause of amputations in this country is people have diabetes. One number one causes of blindness, diabetes that affects the eyes. Number one cause of renal failure, being on dialysis, diabetes. So you're talking about it's a byproduct of sugar. So we're encouraging you, your brain needs glucose, your brain needs fructose, your brain needs sugar. Eat the natural sugars that are released in appropriate fashion the way it's intended to be released. When you eat all this sugar in a week, you're doing something that the human organism was never designed to handle. Okay? Any questions? Does that make sense? Okay.
Okay, so the S in BeSMART is for sunshine and ear. I'm gonna give you a quick statistics, and then the doctor can tell you a story, because I know we're outside sometimes and we think we're getting enough sunlight, and you guys know what you get from the sunlight? Vitamin D to build strong bones. He'll give you more science, but here is the alarming statistic. 80% of black people in America are vitamin D deficient. It's 8 out of 10, okay? 70% of Hispanics are vitamin D deficient, and 60% of white Americans are vitamin D deficient. So something that is given to us for free out there, we're not getting enough of it. And here's the doctor's story.
When you look at the vitamin D, when you look at the chemical structure, it actually resembles a lot of the hormones in our system. So it has a wide array of positive effects. It's good for your bones. It helps with bone health. It's actually, we're finding out, it's good for prostate health. You men who may have prostate problems, it's actually good for heart health. So vitamin D, my story about vitamin D. Okay, so I tend to get like blood testing done at least once a year, and one time I said, let me check my vitamin D level, and it was extremely low. It was a value of 10. Anything less than 20 is deficient. Between 20 and 30 is insufficient. 30 is actually, or higher, is actually a pretty good vitamin D level. So I was down to 10. So I said, let me go outside, walk for about 15 minutes a day. I know it's real low. Let me see if I can get my vitamin D level up. I did that religiously for 6 months. I went back and I got tested, and my vitamin D level was 6. So now I'm like, oh my, what's going on? I'm gonna die. I may have to take vitamin D supplementation. I'm getting concerned about it. And then, light bulb went off after some reading. Now, would you guys call me a dark person? Yeah, I'm dark, right? So I need probably at least an hour to 2 hours of being out in the sun, because the darker you are, the more melanin you have. So light-skinned people, 15 minutes is fine. People, white light, okay. 15 minutes? 30 minutes, maybe closer to an hour, maybe closer to 2 hours. I might have to stay out all day, okay? So I actually started gardening. I started walking my dog when it was bright. I was actually getting probably about an average of 2 hours of sunlight a day. In 6 months, it went from 6 to 24. So this is something that is free, something that, I mean, we're living in the state of Florida. Come on, there's sunlight all the time. I mean, if you're in a building all day, try to get outside. When God created man, he didn't put man in a church building or an office building. He put him in a garden called Eden, outside where there's sunshine, where there's air. And a lot of the problems we're having today is we kind of live this artificial life of staying inside all day, sitting down in a position that actually isn't good for you. We're going to talk about sitting too. That's not, we sit a lot in church. Anyway, so, long time. Yeah, anyway. So we were created to be outside, and there's a reason, and that's how our body thrives. And we're not thriving because we're eating artificial foods, we're living artificial lives, living indoors. So we're encouraging you, get outside and exercise. Get that sunlight, okay?
And a lot of people are afraid of the sun. We've heard about skin cancers and things like that, right? Well, I don't use sunscreen, and I was a physical education teacher for 4 years, which means I was outside in the middle of a field all day long. And here's what I learned. The guy I worked with, he was a PE coach for over 20 years, and that guy used to put the sunscreen on, look all shiny, but then at the end of the day, he still looks weather-beaten and just completely leathery and red, right? So I'm thinking to myself, he's wearing all the sunscreen and he still looks that way. What's going on, all right? Sunscreen does not really protect you from the sun if you're not using sensible exposure, right? You have to think that there are entire societies that live outdoors. So there are societies where people, that's where they live. They don't have houses and things like that, but they're not burning up, okay? Sunburn and these skin cancers or things are a combination of two things. Yes, number one, the sun's UV rays, but two, poor nutrition, okay? So if you're eating a diet like rich in fruits and vegetables and beans and whole grains, nuts and seeds, you'll be able to withstand the sun better than the other person beside you that's eating cheeseburgers and fries. So you have two kids playing together, living in the same house. One's eating this, one's eating this. 2 hours later in the sun, the one that's eating all the junk food is gonna be blistered probably. And the other one, he'll be okay. So practice sensible exposure. I used to put coconut oil, shea butter, things like that that are natural products that create a natural shield from the sun. But at the end of the day, I just got smarter. You feel your skin starting to get tingly? Go stand under a tree, cool down, right? Take an umbrella out there, but the times you get the sun do different things to your body. If you get the early morning sunshine, what that does is reset your body's circadian rhythm. That means if you get outside and get that sunlight and it'll stimulate your, pineal glands in your eyes, what happens is your body knows, yay, it's morning time, so it will naturally wind down in the evening, okay? So early morning sunshine will help you sleep better at night. All those principles are connected. Now, if you get the sunshine between 10 o'clock and 2 o'clock, be sensible about it because that's when the sun's strongest. You do get the most vitamin D, but you also risk the biggest potential for being burned if you're not practicing sensible exposure, like working your way up. If you haven't been in the sun, like kids come back from spring break, and I tap them on the back, great job, they're all yelling because they've all gotten burned because all year long they haven't been outside in the sun, and then for 1 week they lived in the sunshine, right? So let's be sensible. And if you get like I said, that kind of sunshine, that definitely will help you sleep better too. So sunshine helps you sleep better. We talked about the moderation, which is self-controlling good things and avoiding bad things. The A and B SMART is for action. And by action, we're talking about for adults, a minimum of 30 minutes a day, minimum. And for kids, at least an hour a day, 6 days a week. And you rest for 1 day. Do you guys know that the Bible commands us to exercise? It's right there in the 10 Commandments. Have you read it? No one's read the thou shalt exercise commandment? Okay, let's quote it all together. Exodus 20, verses 8. Let's just start there. Go ahead. Remember. Freeze. What did you just now say? 6 days shalt thou labor, right? And that word labor in Hebrew, it's the word abad, which means tilling, it's like the labor like tilling a field or building a wall. It's not the labor of I'm sitting behind a desk and I'm punching in numbers. It's not the kind of work that we do nowadays, a lot of us. It's talking about hard physical labor. So if we want to be able to simulate that, we do have to exercise. We may have to, go outside, pick up the pace, walk. If you can walk, jog, lift weights, because strength training is good. So if you want to be completely obedient to the fourth commandment, it's not only to keep the 7 day holy, but it's that labor part too, getting that 6 days of exercise. So here's what we're going to do. We're not going to exercise right now. We're going to do an activity for 60 seconds, okay? I want everybody to stand up if you're able to, please, okay? So what you're going to do is, I'm going to start this clock. You have 60 seconds. It's very simple. You're just going to touch your bottom down through the seat and get back up again, okay? If you can do it without using your hands, that's great. Just touch your bottom down and then get back up. That's it. If you need to use your hands, that's fine. Okay, save it. All right. So 60 seconds, that's all we're going to do. On your marks, get set, ready, go. Just down, up, right? Just touching down and getting back up again. You look like a really nice popcorn machine right now. Yep, the popcorn's, it's in full swing. You only have 45 more seconds to go. Oh, wow. Well, you're halfway there. You have 30 more seconds. Looks like the popcorn machine is slowing down. It might be ready, almost ready time to eat the popcorn. You have 20 more seconds. The doctor is double time up here. He looks like a machine. 15 more seconds. 10 more seconds. It really was only 60 seconds, I'm telling the truth. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You may be seated. Okay, so that was that was as happy as I've heard the room all day long, right? So why are they so happy? Can you tell me? Is there some science behind that? Well, he's tired now.
All right, exercise is like medicine. Oh, no, scratch that. Exercise is medicine. All right, so right now your heart's racing, you're breathing deeper, you feel happy because there are these things called endorphins. Anyone ever runs and they get what's called the runner's high? You just feel great. You may start out kind of aching and you run, and then at the end you feel great. Some of you are experiencing that right now, okay? Exercise is like insulin for the diabetic. Now, you remember we mentioned that insulin is required for glucose to enter into the cells in your body. Well, you don't need insulin for the brain, for glucose to enter the brain, but into your muscles. When you exercise, it actually facilitates the entrance of glucose into your muscles without the action of insulin. So if you want to normalize your blood sugar and you're diabetic or pre-diabetic or not diabetic, you exercise on a daily basis and you'll get that positive effect. Exercise helps people who have osteoarthritis. Okay, so people will often say, you wake up in the morning and your knees feel kind of achy and creaky and sore, and then as they start walking, they actually start to feel better. So exercise is great for osteoarthritis. Exercise is great for maintaining the weight loss that occurred when you change your nutrition. Exercise is great for weight maintenance. Nutrition is great for weight loss. Exercise, normalize your blood pressure. It can lower your blood pressure. So how many people take their blood pressure medication like maybe once every 2 days? I actually see a lot of patients who take their blood pressure and then they'll take a pill if it's elevated. It's really intended for you to take it on a daily basis. So we recommend that you exercise on a daily basis. Maybe on the Sabbath you can take a nice walk, get out in the sunlight. There's another thing that I want to mention that we didn't mention about sunlight. The effects of sunlight are so amazing. There were a lot of German researchers were looking into the positive effects of sunlight back in around the 1930s, and they found that it dropped your blood pressure. The higher your blood pressure was, the more significant was the reduction. If you had normal blood pressure, it would drop it a little bit. If you had high blood pressure, it would drop it a lot. If you had really, 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 really high blood pressure, it would drop it drastically. So if you have really, 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 really high blood pressure, and your doctors are having a problem, and you're seeing nephrologists and cardiologists, and they don't know what to do, and they got you on lisinopril and hydrochlorothiazide and all the ACE receptor blockers and, angiotensin receptor blockers and all these other meds, and you're seeing all these specialists, and then finally you got a day when it's normal. Try going in the sunlight on a daily basis, see what happens. God's natural remedies that are free will get you back to where you need to be. Did I mention everything? It makes you smarter. It does. Again, like German researchers, they do a lot of this research. They did one study with students, and people who exercise actually improved almost a whole letter grade. So if you were a C student, you could become a B student by exercising. If you were a B, you could become an A student. If you were an F student, well, you could barely pass. So there you go.
Yep, that's why I love exercise. Princess Anne just mentioned kids that have all these, letters after their names, ADHD, all these different things that are going on these days. I put my kids out on the playground, and that solves so many problems because they're getting the sunshine and they're getting the action. So if your kids are wild and jumpy and you want to calm them down, put them outside in the sunlight. Between 10 and 2 o'clock is the best, right? Because you want to wear them out. So, yeah, and these things right here actually are stimulants, okay? So I try to encourage teachers and parents, obviously, because we're getting your children, to stay away from these kind of things for kids especially, because then you send them to school with us, right? And then we end up getting all the side effects and everything else. So just be smart, be smart. It's time to start. It's good for your brain. It's good for your heart, right? So the R and B SMART is for rest. This is a very important principle. And we're advocating that you go to bed for adults by what time? By 10 o'clock. For elementary school age children, by what time? By 8 o'clock. Middle school, 9 o'clock. High school, 9:30. Rest. Why go to bed early?
Oh, you know what? Before I say that, one more thing about exercise. That I talked about sitting. There's some research that goes back to the 1950s. They have these double-decker buses in England. Anyone ever been to England? Right? So they looked at the conductor. He goes around taking your tickets, going up and down the stairs, and the bus driver who sits all day long. And the bus drivers were dying a lot sooner than the conductors. And they had the same rate of smoking. They lived in the same sort of area, same sociological societal status, but they were dying sooner because they were sitting. So some guys have made some calculations, very smart researchers, I can't explain it, and they say if you're sitting more than 5 hours a day, it's almost like smoking a pack of cigarettes. So I'm encouraging you to stop smoking. Get up and start moving. Okay, so that's the exercise. Now we're talking about rest. Rest is the neglected health principle we all neglected. How many people went to bed by 10 o'clock last night? Raise your hand. All right, that was rarity for me. I actually do something that I encourage that you don't do. This is very bad. This is the one thing I have to say. Don't do as I do, do as I say. I work nights. So that's very damaging. Night workers are at least 10 pounds heavier than people who work during the days. Why is that? That's because there are these two hormones. Grace mentioned one, leptin and ghrelin. Leptin makes you feel satisfied. Ghrelin makes you feel like eating all the time. And when you stay up late at night, guess what? You get the munchies, don't you? At 2 o'clock in the morning, you're like, I'm hungry. You're not hungry. You're up at night. You should be in bed. So you go to the fridge and you make this and you eat it, and then you see something else and you eat that, then you see something else and you drink it, and you don't feel satisfied because your leptin is also decreased, which makes you feel satisfied, and the ghrelin is higher. The other thing is, going to bed on time is very important that you get that melatonin spike. Everybody heard of melatonin? All right, melatonin is this sort of chemical that helps you feel well rested. You can pay a lot of money by going to GNC. Ooh, did I say that, GNC? Yeah, going to like one of the health food places, and you can buy melatonin, but your body actually makes it. And when you're very young, like this young man, you're making a lot of melatonin, and as you get older, it drops. But guess what? When you go to bed at 2 o'clock in the morning, you don't get that nice melatonin peak, the optimal peak for you. You have to go to bed by usually about 10 o'clock or so that it can peak later on at night. It's usually peaking around maybe 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. If you're going to bed at 2 o'clock, it ain't peaking. It ain't even start to be secreted. So you need to get to bed early. Not only do you need the sunlight in the morning for optimal melatonin, you also need to go to bed early for optimal melatonin. Why do I work nights? Oh, well, I work nights because I get my Sabbaths off. I don't work any Friday nights. So, young man, if you want to remember, consolidate memory, you go to bed early. Anybody ever crammed for a test? I used to do that all the time. You know what happened? I would cram for a test, I would regurgitate it the next day, then I couldn't remember anything. It was gone. So then I actually had to study for the final, you know? So if you study until like 10 o'clock, go to bed, wake up early, guess what? When that final comes, you'll remember everything, and studying for that final will be a breeze. So to be smarter, to consolidate memory, you go to bed early. For muscles to grow, for you to grow tall, I always tell kids, you want to be taller than your dad, go to bed early, because your growth hormone will spike. So you want to be like, hey, Dad, haha, I'm taller than you. Go to bed early, okay? Dads who are already grown up, you know, that's it. You've reached your height, sorry.
So R is for rest, in bed early to be your best. And the T and B Smart is for, it's twofold. TV time, which I touched on before. It's not just the advertising. It's the quick changes of scenes and things like that that are messing with your frontal lobe. It kind of deadens your frontal lobe, and that's where your decision-making comes from, right? So you're watching all these things, it's flashing, it's changing, and next thing you know, they tell you, yes, Coke brings happiness. And it just seeps right in there, and you start believing that next thing you know, you're picking up a Coke, right? So quality programming, right? Something that if Jesus was sitting next to you, he'd be okay with it. And that would cancel 99.99% repeating of cable television right now, okay? They have religious programming through ABN, Hope Channel. Those things are not quick changing scenes. Those people just stand there and they talk to you and they give you a chance to reason and figure out what they're saying, if it's true, if it's believable, and if it's actually something from God. So TV time, you want to limit that to an hour or less. We say less is best, and none is actually ideal. Because instead of watching TV, you can read a book, you can listen to the radio, you can write, you can do things that we used to do before people had like 16,000 channels to choose from, right? The T and B Smart's also for tell others. If you're living a Christian life, this should be a reflex. Telling others about Jesus is going to come naturally. If you have a problem telling others about Jesus, about the God you serve and what he's done for you, chances are you need to realign yourself with him, okay? Because to me, when I go to work, it's easy. I'm talking about Jesus, God all day long. I mean, it's even coming out to these kids in a public school. I have a very creative way to be able to do this every single day. You live this life, telling others should be very, very simple. So be smart, be smart. It's time to start.
All right. I discovered something very unique today. Your school, Sawgrass, right here, Adventist School, they have a media, TV, electronics free week, May 5th to the 9th. Am I saying that right, Principal Kathy? I've never heard of such a thing. If your child attends that school, support them. And that means, you know, limit the computer time, right? Principal, you give them all the rules, and this year they're going to be getting screen-free week. Parents, I encourage you to do that with your kids. No, and you know, and this is a really good example as we expect kids to make changes and do good, but yet we're not willing to do the same thing with our kids. We tell our kids, I cooked all this broccoli and spinach and yummy, delicious food, and all you want is McDonald's. Well, who's driving them there? They don't have jobs. Oh, I got to take them to the dentist because they have to have fillings and extractions. Well, why are you giving them candy, Grandma? Yes. Screen-free week is, you want to come, yeah, she just explained it. It's literally no television. Come in, because we also want to challenge the church to join your school children that week. You will be smarter. You'll spend more time with Christ, because what else are you going to do? You're going to speak to your husband and your wives more? Come on, share.
Some of them, you did it last year, right? Yes, you want to come up and tell them what you couldn't do? What you did instead? Okay, tell us what happened
Last year, we did screen-free week, and I was in the house and my sister had the iPad and she was watching it, and I got so tempted that I walk over to the iPad and start watching it. And my dad's like, "Isn't this screen-free week? And you want to win that prize?" I'm like, no television, no phone, no electronics, stuff like that.
What did you do instead?
I tried to do it again, but it didn't work. So I eventually just gave up.
Did you go outside and play? What did you do instead?
Yeah, I read books. I did my normal routine. That's it. Well, at Screen Free Week, I was any TV or any electronics. I wasn't using my phone, my stuff.
What did you do?
I could only play tag or run around the house.
Trampoline. What else?
And I don't remember anything.
We want you to help your children come up with more creative ideas. Maybe you can give them ideas as to what they can do during screen-free week.
Well, we do. We give them a list of things that they can do instead.
Parents,
So
do you
they
read that
can-
list? Tell them now.
They
so it's
can
fresh.
read books. They can do their homework, of course. They can play outside, take a walk. There's a whole list of things that they can do. Read your Bible, pray. There's a long list of things. Call a friend. They just can't play the games on the iPhones and things like that.
All right. So you would be smart. That's the T. Limit your TV time. That'll be none for that week. All righty. So Christ wants you to spend more time with him. But we're so distracted because we're engaging in so many other different things. A lot of families are disconnected because everyone has a television in their own room. If they don't have a TV, they have their own cell phones. They're texting. You see what I mean? So we want the church to be united, but we also want, it starts with the families first. Seriously. What are we eating and drinking? Every Tuesday and Thursday, out of the 5 free classes that we have each week, it's primarily attended by 98% non-Adventist. We're talking about 70, 80 women and children, and some men. Okay? They eat this stuff up. They're like, what? We've never heard of this. And they take the challenge, which we're going to issue to you, a 30-day challenge to be smart. They do it. We are so used to it, right? It's like old hat. But yet, we expect our bodies to look different. Can I just show you one of the ladies from our class? And this is one of 6 that we featured over the Christmas holiday at our annual BeSMART fundraiser. Her name is Carmen. Was it 9? Oh, 9. 9 of 9. Yeah, 9 women who took the challenge. And here we go.
Tired, fat, ugly. I can't sleep because my heart beats too fast, and I can't put my 2 legs together. But now I feel with energy, pretty, and now I can put my legs together. I can do Zumba pretty well, and now I can sleep better too. Before, when I touch my legs or my arm, used to have pain. I don't know why, but now I can do that, and I feel good. My sugar and my blood pressure was in the borderline, and my cholesterol too, a little bit higher, but now it's normal, like a 15 years old girl. I lost 42 pounds. Woo!
And that's just one of many stories in our classes. We've had people that have come off of multiple medications. I mean, people that have maybe lost maybe 30, 40, 50 pounds. Just their whole quality of life improved. You heard what she said. Just to touch her arm would hurt, right? Now she's living such a happier life. She's not in that kind of pain. And she's always been a nice girl, a nice lady. But now she really has that joy of the Lord. And she's really excited about every day. So we're going to issue a simple challenge to you guys. And your mission, should you choose to accept, is for 30 days. You guys can do anything for 30 days, right? Be smart for 30 days, right? And we're going to kick it up a notch, because if you follow this prescription that I'm about to tell you guys, if they could put this thing into a pill, doctors would be totally out of business, okay? Because this prescription that we're about to tell you can reverse heart disease, reverse diabetes, can cause rapid weight loss, can cause improved energy. I mean, it's incredible, and it's simple, and God gave us to it back in Genesis. It's a whole foods, plant-based diet. So if you're willing for 30 days to try this whole foods, plant-based diet, and that's simple, that means fruits, vegetables, beans, whole grains, nuts, and seeds, and drink water, right? Some people call that vegan. We call it, like I said, a whole foods, plant-based lifestyle for 30 days, and eliminate these things and drink water instead, right? 30 days, results are guaranteed. If somebody does this properly, when people have done it properly, we've never seen anything less than miracles, okay? So who thinks they're up for the challenge? Who would want to take that 30-day challenge? Because if you raise your hand, you're going to find people, look around you, that can help you out on this journey. 30 days, it's incredible, really. This thing here, like I said, if they could put this thing in a pill, it would be unbelievable. I saw a lot of hands, okay? So 30 days, adopt a whole foods, plant-based diet. And have you guys seen the movie Forks Over Knives? You have that movie, Lyndon? You seen it? Check it out, because maybe that's something that as a church, you guys can watch together. It's very powerful. And it's not even from a group of Christian people. This is some doctors, Dr. Caldwell Esselstyn, and what's the other guy's name? These guys have been for over 50 or 60 years researching nutrition, right? Colin T. Campbell. And they made this documentary called Forks Over Knives, tracks about 5 or 6 people, and goes through their journeys of reversing heart disease, getting rid of diabetes, losing weight, just improving their quality of life, just by adopting this whole food plant-based diet. So this is definitely Forks Over Knives. If you have Netflix, you can get it on there. And you can get it off of Amazon, buy it there. But that may be something as a church you want to watch, because if you guys are up for the challenge, then we'll coordinate with your health and temperance leader to help you along the journey. But this will be like the most powerful experience of your entire life. So it'll change your life. And like I said, you're going to have to change your taste buds, right? You transform your mind, you transform your plate, you'll transform your body.
Alrighty, so you're probably wondering, what do we eat? Do we just go out into our garden and nibble on grass? No. We eat a lot of cooked beans done any old kind of way that you can imagine. Stewed beans, curried beans. We prepare foods that you would normally eat, but without the meat, without the dairy, without the cheese. So, for example, what did you have for lunch today? All right, you had what I had. Okay. What did you have for lunch today? It was what? It was vegan. Yeah, did everyone eat with us today? Who did not eat at church and can tell me what you ate today? Yes. Haystack. Okay. That's beans, vegetables, Doritos. No? Oh, corn chips and cheese. Now, and what else? And salsa. Okay, so instead of the real cheese, because we know what that does, that's just fat, right? You can sprinkle nutritional yeast on there, or there's a product called Daiya, D-A-I-Y-A, which is really good. It melts, and it doesn't have like a long list of ingredients. It really doesn't. Alrighty, so there's an example. So you're gonna find things to replace, and it is available at Publix. There's tofu, you can prepare it any way you'd like. Right, now the vegetarian meats,
Publix has it, but they only have mozzarella. If you go to Whole Foods, they have the various cheeses and they have the bricks. That would be like a sliced cheese.
It is. Grace, what were you just saying? Right, vegetarian meats in the cans, the Morning Star, the Loma Linda, I don't know, whatever brands, because we don't eat them. You got to watch out for those, like avoid those, because we want you to get away from processed foods. Those are high in sodium and also chemicals that we don't even know what it is. Did you all find here this week that Subway, their bread, they use a bleaching chemical that they also used to make yoga mats and the rubber and the soles of your shoes in their bread. I'm telling you. So the more you prepare your own meals, you know what's going in it. It's better for you. It'll be cheaper. Remember, one of the things that Grace studied in the Sabbath school lesson with me that she held the sign up was stewardship. The money that we're giving to these corporations, it's not right, because they're slowly killing us, right? So if you buy the beans, the dried beans, and soak it and cook it, or if frozen is the next bet, or if you're gonna do the canned beans, then you need to rinse it. You know what I mean? Or do no sodium. Also vegetables, try to go to farmer's market, or you have up where we live, you have like the farmers that have the produce at the side of the street, selling out the back of their truck. Support that, because local farmers. Anyway, just try fresh fruits and vegetables. You will see that and taste that it tastes differently, and it's a whole lot more enjoyable. One quick thing, and then we're going to take questions. Lyndon and Tanty Pearl, I call Pearl de Karma Tanty Pearl, that's my auntie. She is an amazing cook, an amazing baker. And everything is plant-based. I'm gonna invite you to share some of your recipes with those who want to take the 30-day challenge. Can you raise your hands again, please? Because you're gonna wanna know what to cook. Okay, so this is Tanty Pearl de Carmel. Raise your hand. Can you just stand up? Let them see you, because this is what our church has been waiting for, right? That's who you need to see afterwards, as well as Lyndon. Hook up with her. She will show you how to make, and I make her bread. See, y'all playing around. I make her bread, y'all. Help me, Jesus. Yummy. No chemicals in it. I need it from scratch. Desserts. You can make your own cake. When I bake my cakes and breads, sweet breads, I don't use any sugar. I just use fruit. Dates and raisins blended, and that's the sweetener. It is so yummy, and whatever flavor you want to add, that will hook it up. Do we have any of those recipes up on the site, our website, Pooh? The point is, Tanty Pearl has that. Let's see, ice cream. She has the recipe. Yeah. What else, y'all? What do you like eating? Tell me, what do you like eating? Curried goat. All right, here we go. Thank you for keeping it real. You can curry some certain kinds of vegetables, or yams, or chickpeas, or potatoes, and chickpeas and potatoes, butter beans, and get that nice curry flavor. Here's the thing: when we go to heaven, which goat them I go kill in a heaven to give you curry goat? Which tree is that gonna come off of? Help me here, my brother. Listen, let's keep it real. Sin brought about death, right? And that's why we eat flesh. But we won't have that opportunity anymore when we get to heaven. But we need to practice now. Ooh, fruit smoothies. What? That is your ice cream too. Are you kidding me? You don't need to add anything. No, you don't. The ice creams, the Tofuti ice creams, the whatever brand, sugar. We used to have the empty carton of just one little half a pint. The sugar string was so long. Yeah, the things that look, let's just go to the real thing, and if it comes out of the ground, off of a tree, off of a vine, let's go with that. If it comes out of a plant that has a smokestack coming out of it, like Kraft Foods or McDonald's, stay away from it. Now we'll take your question. Ooh, back there. Wait for the mic, thank you. Anyone else for a question? We'll come to you next. Over here, okay.
If there's any recommendations on the combinations, like if certain meal you only eat fruits and just vegetables, or it's okay to mix it.
Okay, I'm going to keep it really simple for everyone. That's an excellent question. You will have different presenters and with different school of thought about, meal timing and the combinations of it. We're not going to address that. Right now, we just want to encourage you to eat more fruits and vegetables because you're not. Are you with me? Now, you can have fruits for breakfast because it's filling, and replace your eggs and cheesy stuff. I don't know. You can have oatmeal, and as a sweetener, add your raisins and fruit and honey. Are you with me? Right, we want you to cut out the animal products. So if you do that, you're not promoting cancer. Okay, I heard a lot of testimonies today about different prayer requests about different people who need prayer for cancer. And we're not, let's help our bodies. So, and sugar.
Yeah, one neat thing is with this whole foods plant-based diet, you don't have to count calories. And people, a lot of Weight Watchers and things like that are very restrictive. You eat until you're full. As long as you're eating these good things, you eat until you're full, till you're satisfied. You get hungry, you eat again. And just know that eating too late will interfere with your digestive system in the process. So don't eat too late, and go to bed early, and you'll start seeing amazing results. So, yep.
There's a question back here first, and we'll come to you, Sylvia. Right there, and then gentleman over there.
So how do you feel about sugar juice? Because I'm a Cuban, and they take the sugar cane.
Oh, eat sugar cane. Remember, instead of drinking the juice, do what? Eat the fruit.
So that in that format, it's okay.
Eat the sugar cane.
But do you know what I mean by sugar guarapo? Do you know what that is? It's when they put the cane.
Oh, they crush it. Okay, so do you drink it right away? Because that's a whole lot of sugar. That'll make your blood sugar spike. Okay, and seriously, let's also be aware of that. Like if you're diabetic, you don't want to have your banana, eat your banana that's so ripe where it has brown spots on it. That's a high glycemic index. We want you to eat the fruit when it's not overly ripe. Too much sugar, it's good sugar, it's good fructose, but it will still affect your body. You need the fiber, and when you juice it, there's no fiber. So eat the sugar cane. Some of
us are told genetically you are predisposed to, you will be a diabetic or you will have hypertension.
All right. The movie Forks Over Knife, what was it? T. Colin Campbell, or one of the doctors in the movie said that genetics load the gun, but nutrition pulls the trigger. You decide if you're going to be diabetic or hypertensive. Yes. Oh, good. The doctor will address that.
Yeah, it's all right. So your environment has a lot to do with what genes are expressed. Okay, so we're like our genetic code. We have a lot of genes that are in our body that aren't expressed, that they're not manifest, is a better way of putting at it. So you could do your own genetic engineering. This is what I like to say. You want to be a genetic engineer? If you were to eat a certain way, you can do genetic engineering. And you can ask my wife, when I changed the way I ate, my body actually was transformed. I actually saw a six-pack that I hadn't seen like in about 20 years. So you could do your own genetic engineering. It is correct that type 2 diabetes seems to run in families. That is a correct statement. But just because your mother had diabetes and your grandmother had diabetes doesn't mean that you have to have type 2 diabetes, okay? It means that you have certain genetic predispositions. But if you eat a certain way, certain genes are going to be expressed, and you don't have to get diabetes. A lot of researchers now, again, estimate that 70 to 80% of these so-called genetic diseases are influenced by environment, which means it's influenced by whether or not you exercise, it's influenced by what you eat, it's influenced by what you actually do. I think for me, that's a very liberating statement because my father, uncle, and grandfather all had prostate cancer. My grandmother on my mother's side died of complications of diabetes when she was in her mid-50s. My mother had diabetes when she got to be about maybe in her mid-70s. Now, why did she get in her mid-70s as opposed to her mid-50s? You know, it was genetics, right? Why didn't she get it in her mid-50s? Maybe she did something a little bit different about what she ate and whether or not she exercised. Do I plan on getting diabetes? No, but God forbid if I get it, I pray it's going to be in my 90s, because I believe that what you do, exercising on a daily basis, drinking water, eating an abundance of fruit and vegetables is a very simple, inexpensive way of powerfully changing your life. And I will tell you a story that I tell sometimes about a patient that I took care of. I was working in Zanesville, Ohio in 1995 in the emergency room. It was the end of my shift, and a nurse came and grabbed me to pull me to a patient's bedside, which you never want a nurse to do at the end of your shift because you're trying to clean up and you're trying to go home. And there was this gentleman who was having a heart attack, and he was sitting there, he was sweating. He was a truck driver. His wife brought him in. He didn't want to come in because he thought it was just indigestion. So she brought him in. He's sitting there. I asked him, are you having chest pain? He's like, no, just have a little ache. And as he's saying this, he goes into what's called ventricular fibrillation, which means your heart is quivering, it's not pumping, there's some electrical activity, and what do we do when you go into ventricular fibrillation? Boom! We shock him. Comes right back. How are you feeling now? I feel okay, right? We end up shocking him about 3 times. He's having a heart attack, and I was working at a smaller hospital at that time, so we had to transfer him. We gave him a blood thinner, clot buster, and we transferred him to Columbus, Ohio, where he could get a cardiac catheterization, okay? So in between that time, he actually stabilized. We started him on some drips and medications, and he didn't go into that bad rhythm anymore. And he said, Doc, why is this happening to me? Now, I would love every one of my patients to ask me that question. But many patients, most patients, the majority of patients never ask that question. They just believe that I had a heart attack, I was bound to get it, and I'm bound to have another one because my parents had a heart attack. And I asked him, I said, you smoke, right? He said, you told us you smoke. He said, yeah. I said, you need to quit smoking because, you know, tobacco is #1 or #2 cause of death and disability. I asked him, what do you eat? He said, Doc, I don't eat good. I eat at those truck stops. Anybody ever been to a truck stop? Yeah, good luck finding fruit and vegetables at that place. I said, man, you got to start eating better, eat more fruit and vegetables. Now, this is a very short period of time I spent with this gentleman. I said, do you exercise at all? No, I'm driving all the time. Remember what I told you about sitting? And if anyone has ever been a truck driver, it's a very stressful job. I mean, you've got to make deadlines. If you're not working, you're not making money. I told him he had to start exercising. I said, do you go to church? He says, no. He says, does anyone in your family go to church? He says, my wife goes to church every Sunday. I said, start going to church with your wife. There's a lot of research that shows if you attend regular church service, guess what? You live longer. So all these saints that are getting you angry, they're actually helping you out. So all right. So go to church with each other and be forgiving and embrace each other. So anyway, I would have forgotten completely about this guy. The only reason I'm telling you this story is about 6, 7 months later, I'm working in Zanesville, Ohio again, and I lived in Columbus, so it was about maybe 45 minutes to an hour drive. And I'm like, hey, Doc, there's someone here to see you. I'm like, I don't know anybody out here. I walk out, I see this tall gentleman. He was about 6 foot. I'm like, I don't know this guy. Hey, Doc, you remember me? He's like, yeah. You took care of me. I said, yeah. You know, I had that heart attack. I said, yeah. I said, man, you look good. This guy looked slender. He looked healthy. They had to do a procedure on him. But 6 months later, he said, I've done everything you said. He quit smoking. He started exercising. He was going to church every Sunday. And I tell you that story to say this. I've seen a lot of patients with heart attacks. I believe in modern medicine up to a point. Modern medicine is what I call palliative. In other words, if you're having a heart attack, we can do some things to ameliorate that heart attack, to maybe stop it, to maybe open up a blockage. But guess what? That blockage in that one vessel, that's all over the place. There's blockages in your brain, blockages in your legs, and unless you change what you're doing, you're going to have another heart attack. Because that's what I see more often than not. I see people coming in 2 months later with a heart attack, haven't quit smoking. 3 months later with another heart attack. They need to get a bypass. A year later, over and over again, I saw one guy who quite proudly told me, 13 times I've had cardiac catheterization. I thought, well, that's nothing to be proud about. And he actually signed out against medical advice because we became a non-smoking campus and we weren't allowing him to smoke. So what I'm saying to you is, as powerful as modern medicine is, these very, very simple measures are much more powerful, and they will transform your life.
All righty, we're going to take those 2 questions and then conclude. Yes, sir.
About the plant-based or diet. Now, what if you're on certain medications that it restricts you from eating vegetables or a lot of vegetables?
Very, very good question. There are some medications where you're not supposed to have greens. However, you can have other colored vegetables. They will give you a list what you should not eat, but they won't give you the entire list of fruits and vegetables. There's way more that you can eat than you cannot. Also, some medications say you shouldn't eat like grapefruit and certain citrus fruit and whatnot. Don't eat those. But you can eat everything else. Amen? Next question. Very good. Sylvia.
Yes, hi. Can you address the different oils? Because, there are oils that we don't cook, that we can't heat up, and then there are oils that we need to cook with. Can you address the differences and, which ones we should be eating or not eating or cooking or not cooking with? Or
Okay. Different oils, when you heat them and at various temperature, creates a problem. We encourage you to limit the frying. Okay? For example, you can drizzle your olive oil over your salad. That's fine. Okay? We want to encourage you to bake. And I'm not going to address that only like which oils are good or not, because you have different school of thought and some are contradictory. So we're saying, some say grapeseed oil is better for you, or olive oil, or canola. We're not going to promote any particular one. But what we are going to say is limit your intake of oil instead of fry and bake. Or, here's what I do a lot. Instead of putting oil in a pan to saute, I just put water. And it does the same job. Thank you. See, Tante Pearl is saying water, and she's saying the same thing I'm saying. Okay, Dr. Don's going to say something, and as soon as he's done, and it's going to be a brief statement, I would like those who raise their hands, we're going to be your support team. We're going to get you to your goal. I'm going to ask Lyndon to take your names and your numbers, and the Lord is going to work with you, and the hands the Lord's going to use will be us. Got it? Amen? Amen. All righty.
Yeah, limit all oils, because oil is actually a processed product. So this is the best fat. This is an avocado. It has oils in it that are naturally in there, and it's high in fiber and it's high in phytonutrients. Raw nuts, raw walnuts, raw almonds, raw cashews, those have quote unquote oils trapped in there, and that's what you want to eat. You want to eat them raw, not roasted with oils. The only nut that should be roasted, dry roasted, is like a peanut, which is actually a legume. Everyone talks about how good olive oil is, and it's concentrated calories, it's processed. When you fry it, you actually change the chemical nature of it. It's better if you're using it, let's say you're doing some potatoes instead of doing French fries, maybe just sprinkle some olive oil on it and bake it, and put some, baking with the oil is much better. But we want you to limit those oils because, again, those are like processed foods. And we're trying to get back to, again, what's the word? A whole food. This isn't a vegan diet. You could be a very unhealthy vegan. You can be extremely unhealthy vegan. If you're eating potato chips and drinking soda, guess what? You're a vegan. Are you eating healthy? No. Okay? If you're eating potato chips and drinking soda, you are by definition a vegan. Are you eating healthy? Okay then. So we want you to eat a whole foods, plant-based diet. Try to get your oils more from the whole foods.
I think at this point, we're done. I would like to thank BeSMART for joining us this weekend. Don, Anne, Grace. They've definitely given us some information where we can change our lives. Dawn is in the process of getting a sign-up sheet for those that had raised their hands, indicating they want to be involved in the program. We'll collect your phone number, email. Do you guys have packets of information that we can get them? Website? BeSMART365.com. So there is a lifestyle, and I guess we'll touch base once a week. The phone number's on there? Phone number and email. And they respond, especially, you text them any hour of the day, you get a response pretty quick. So if you have questions, people are asking about oils and foods, they can give you some tips and guidance and resources where you can understand. She said that she's leaving that with me. We'll do our best to get answers, and I think the point is that we want to change. This is not a 1 week experiment and then you go back to whatever it was that you're doing that got you in trouble. It's a change in lifestyle. It's not just a diet that you're doing to lose weight and then go, hold it in for a month and then get right back to where you were and get you in trouble. We're trying to change and transform, and it's better to take things slowly. Have you guys heard of the full plate diet? And I don't know how many of you have heard about the full plate diet, but you simply take what you're doing today and you add a fruit or a vegetable to whatever you're doing. And the next month, you add another fruit and a vegetable. And the whole point is that eventually your plate gets full of these fibrous foods and you're full, you're eating well, and you're healthy, but you did it slowly.
The only difference between them and us, we say, just do it today. Just make the full plate a full plate today.
Okay, so I'm waiting on Dawn with the sign up. Yes, Donovan.
I have a question for Grace.
Mind you, she's trying to wind up, Donovan.
Yeah, I just want to ask a question about being athletic and playing ball at a high level, her diet, and because I myself, I play a lot of basketball, everybody know, what to eat to, continue that energy. Because I burn a lot of energy, but then I don't eat right, so.
Okay, that's easy. It's the same equation, that whole foods, plant-based diet. Actually, when I was an athlete, I used to eat chicken and thought those things were great, and pasta and things like that, pre-game meals. But later in my career, when I started playing in Italy, I became a vegetarian. And it wasn't anything that was a spiritual conviction. It was just, God put that thing in me, but it wasn't because I went to church. I just decided one day, okay, well, I'm not gonna eat meat anymore. And I actually, those were some of my best seasons after that. I had more energy. My teammates every game would say, how are you gonna survive? You're not eating this steak before the game, you're not eating chicken. And every game I'd outrun them and I'd outlast them. And they'd keep asking me every single game, how are you gonna survive? You're not eating the chicken, you're not eating this. I had more energy, and what happens is you recover faster too. When you're eating that whole foods plant-based diet, your muscles have a faster recovery time. Everything strengthens. So I'm actually in the best shape of my life right now with this whole foods plant-based diet. And like I said, I even changed to only vegetarian. If I would have became like I was now when I was playing, I would have been, even faster and lasted even longer. So that diet is the best solution for anything you do, athletics or just normal everyday life.
Well, you notice the individual that was running his mouth is not here. I wonder why.
I'm not going nowhere.
I wonder why. There is a sign-up sheet that is going around. Again, what we'll do is please sign up. We'll give you tips and tricks to start changing your lifestyle, adopting this healthy, it's a complete picture. It's not just an emergency 30-day type of thing. We're changing lifestyles. There'll be recipes. If you're interested in the recipes that she talked about, I have all of them available online. You can send me an email and I can get you to them. There'll be pictures too, so you actually see what the food looks like before you make it. That is an important step. What's this? Yeah, they're online. I've sent it to you. I'll send it again. So at this point, I do believe that we're going to wind down and pray. Yes.
My daughter plays basketball in school, and she's wanting to become a vegetarian and wanting to know what she can do to get extra protein.
Just to let you know, they have an appointment that they need to go to, so they need to get, we'll wind up. This will be the last question for the night. I'll let Grace answer that.
And I'm going to actually defer to the doctor momentarily, but that's a good question. There's something called the protein myth. And the reason my teammates kept saying, how are you going to survive? Because they thought you needed all this protein from the chicken and everything else. So they thought I would crumble and collapse on the court because I wasn't getting all that protein. The truth is, we don't need as much as they say we do. Can you talk about the protein myth?
Yeah, the protein myth is like, the zombies, like you keep killing them and they keep coming back. This is like a myth that's been going on for like the last more than 100 years. In fact, runners, I do marathon running from time to time. Runners used to eat a steak dinner back in the 60s because they thought that would, give you more energy and you could last longer. And now the pre-race meal is pasta, carbohydrates. So runners are eating like 70, 80% carbohydrates, those distance runners. And the average American eats way too much protein. That's the problem. When you look at what's recommended by the World Health Organization, what's recommended by most other organizations, and what the average like weightlifter or someone recommends, it's just way too much protein. So what your body actually needs for athletic performance, in my opinion, is carbohydrates, and good carbohydrates. I mean carbohydrates that are high in fiber and nutrients. And you can ask any marathon runner, any runner, what they're eating, and they're not eating steak, they're eating carbs, good carbs. I know carbs is a bad word in the society because, we have the Atkins diet and all those other things that push protein. But that is, in my opinion, the protein myth. It's been disproven. Your kidneys it's interesting. High protein affects your kidneys, and when you go into kidney failure, they actually put you on a low protein diet so that you don't damage your kidneys further. So if you start to go into have kidney problems, renal failure, your nephrologist, the first thing he's going to do is put you on a low protein diet. So save your kidneys, eat more carbohydrates.
These vegetables and things like that, these are full of protein and enough. The stuff that's in here, the World Health Organization recommends 47 grams of protein per day. The average American can do that by breakfast time in one meal. Anything over that 47 grams a day is going to cause a burden on your kidneys. So the stuff that we have in here, this will give you the right amount of protein. You don't need as much as they say you do, and your daughter will be in the best shape of her life. Oh yeah, beans. You can get from 1 cup of navy beans, 14, 15 grams of protein. Nuts. These are all healthy, very good sources. But yep, encourage her to follow that path. She will be in the best shape and recover faster than her teammates.
Okay, I know there's more questions, but they do need to leave. I actually got them to stay longer than they had intended on staying. So Canute, would you mind popping up here to close the Sabbath with a prayer? I think he's busy signing up.
Thank you very much. I want to extend special thanks to the BeSMART team. You guys, I just want them to give them a big round of applause. We have truly been blessed today. We can save a lot of money. Look at all these guys if we get rid of all these and just eat real fruits and vegetables. So thank you all. As a church earlier, last year we did a survey, and these are some of the things that we wanted to address. And I'm extremely proud that so many people turned out this evening, and you could at least benefit from this. So let's all stand and close in prayer. Let's pray. Almighty Father, our God, we're truly blessed today, dear Father. We have given a testimony, dear Father, that most of us, dear Father, can relate, and we can really, really, really look back and say, you're a God that we need to serve, and we need to trust, and we need to believe in. And dear Father, you've got plans for us, plans to prosper us and to make us great. So, dear Father, we just need to trust in you. We're just grateful, dear Father, that you've brought Grace and the team here, dear Father, from Ocala, and they have shared so much with us, dear Father. We ask that you'll just give them traveling mercies back, dear Father, and just continue to bless them and, dear Father, help them, dear Father, that they may able to tell others of your love and your soon coming, dear Father, and help us that we may be able to eat smart and just be smart. Just bless each and everyone here, dear Father. Bless their home, bless their families, dear Father. Help us, dear Father, those who have signed up and who have decided today, dear Father, to make a change. We ask that you'll just help us, dear Father, because it's a struggle day by day. But we know with your help and with your guidance, we can do it all. So, dear Father, bless us for the coming week. We know not what lies ahead, but you know, dear Father. And we ask that you'll just guide us and just continue to bless us, dear Father. Help us, dear Father, that we await your soon coming, for we ask these mercies in Jesus' name. Amen.
Reminder, if you are interested, please sign up. Please put your email address on there so that we can contact you. And if you're interested in the recipes, please let me know that too.